In this video, I'm going to show you my process to do water changes. Everybody has their own methods, and mine may not be right, but it seems to work for me. Whatever's easiest for you and allow you to do your changes more frequently, that's the process you need to follow. Some parts of this video are going to be fast forwarded just so you don't have to sit there and watch me perform the same repetitive steps over and over and over. To begin, we're going to go ahead and remove the lid. Now, the lid of this aquarium is custom made using 1/8 inch plexiglass that I got online from Amazon. Because this tank is a rimless tank, and I did have a green Cyberman here at one point in time, he is a jumper and I didn't want fish to start leaping out of the tank. When I priced the new top for this aquarium, it was going to cost $300 to $400. I figured, hey, I can make this lid a lot cheaper. If you're interested on how I made this lid, let me know in the comments and I'll create a video on how to do it. Anyway, I'm removing the light and now I'm removing the lid panels. You'll notice one of the panels on the right hand side has a feeding hole in it. That's my own custom touch. Anyway, on to the next step. Next, you'll see here that I'm starting to clean the inside of the glass with an algae scrubber. This is a perfect time to clean your glass. Now, I have one of those magnetic scrubbers that I use periodically to do some cleaning, but here I'm doing it primarily during the actual water change, because if you're gonna pull some of the water out, you might as well foul it up now anyway, right? So anyway, you'll see here that I'm cleaning the glass and I'm going all the way around the tank. Halfway through, I broke the actual handle on the cleaning tool, but I kept going. Next, I begin the vacuuming process. Now, in order to do this, I have a bubble siphon that I use on this tank. Some people will actually show you how to start the siphon by dipping the end in and tilting it up and making the water flow and creating the vacuum and all that good stuff. I prefer the bubble siphon. Now, you'll notice I'm having a little trouble getting it to work. This bubble siphon was put together by me using a different, longer hose than what it came with. And as a result, it's sucking a little bit of air, but I finally get it going. As I begin the vacuuming process, you'll notice that I am tapping the siphon into the gravel and then lifting it back up. Now, some people will kink the hose to reduce the flow, which then releases the gravel out of the siphon. So if your siphon is really strong and is pulling your gravel way up in it, just put a kink in the hose periodically and it will let the gravel go. All I'm doing here is I'm just dipping the end of the siphon into different parts of the gravel to get any excess detritus out of it. Detritus, of course, is fish poo, right? Anyway, I go through and I'm also trying to get rid of some of the excess algae that's on the gravel. Now, this is a daunting algae, also known as brown algae. I seem to have a little trouble with it in this tank, and I've read that it could be the different light settings that I use. I'm tweaking it here and there to see if I can find the best setting for it. I read, though, that the blue light is what causes the daunting algae to grow aggressively, so I've now reduced it down to about 7%. Anyway, I'm going through and I'm just vacuuming the tank from one end to the other. And in the back, it's a lot dirtier than in the front, which stands to reason. The circulation of this tank goes around. And one thing you need to note right up front when you start siphoning water out of your tank, you need to turn your pump off, and your filter especially. If you don't turn these off, you'll actually wind up sucking air in, and it becomes a lot more difficult to prime the filter. So I just turn everything off. I know it makes it a little harder to see as I'm doing it, but that's why I do it. Now that the water's gone, I'm now going inside and rearranging some of the plants that have been uprooted by the various fish. This is a perfect time to inspect your plants, make sure that they're clean. If you're using real plants, make sure that they're healthy and rooted really well. And if you do need to make any other adjustments to your aquarium, now's the time. You don't want to make too drastic of a change to the environment. The fish are typically used to a specific layout in your tank, and you want to try and maintain that. Now it's time to fill the aquarium back up. A lot of different methods can be used for this. Some people will use a hose from their faucet, others will use a pump. I prefer to use 5-gallon buckets. Now I already know you're going to say, well, 5-gallon buckets is pretty labor intensive. And yes, it is. But I prefer this method simply because I can control what goes back in the tank. What do I mean by that? Well, first, the temperature of the water. You need to make sure that the water temperature going back in your tank is similar to the water temperature that the tank is currently sitting at. My tanks typically run around 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, it just so happens that during the summertime, when I have my faucet on my tap on cold, all the way open, it comes out at exactly 80 degrees. Now, sometimes it will fluctuate when I first turn it on, so I let it run for a few minutes to make sure that the temperature has stabilized. This way, I know exactly the temperature going into the tank and I'm not shocking my fish. Second of all, I prefer to treat my water before I put it in the tank. What I do is I put my dechlorinator in the bucket after it's filled up with the correct dosage to make sure that the water is fully dechlorinated. Now, I've been told that you can actually fill your tank straight from the tap and then put dechlorinator in the tank and treat it as a whole. Personally, I prefer to just do it 5 gallons at a time. Is it a little more labor intensive? Yes, but I feel more comfortable doing it this way. You do whatever makes you the most comfortable. and it works out the same. someone new to the hobby, how often should you do a water change on your aquarium? That's a great question. Some of the so-called experts out there will say that you need to do a water change once a week. Some say every other week. Some say once a month. And I've even seen some say never. I always do water changes when the chemicals in my tank are not correct, or if my water is extremely fouled up. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and make sure you put a comment below on any ideas or suggestions that you may have for future videos. Thanks a lot.